Hey guys, it's Double D from the Entitled Millennials podcast, and welcome to the Entitled Millennials Patreon. If you found your way here, you probably found us on YouTube or one of our social media sites, and just want to say thank you for coming by and checking us out. The purpose of this Patreon is to give exclusive content to those of our YouTube subscribers and community members who just want a little bit more to bite on. One of the main things we'll be doing on this Patreon is exclusive episodes of the Entitled Millennials podcast. With these exclusive episodes, they'll be a little bit different than the ones that you see usually on YouTube. I know on YouTube we usually do like current events, politics, and we kind of just ping pong, pinball around all different issues of what's going on in the news and try to have some fun while doing it. With the Patreon, we want to try to go more singular. We want to try to focus on a specific subject, maybe a specific time period in history, a conspiracy, an issue. I don't know what the topics will all be, but we're going to just really try to be single-minded about them and do more of a deep dive and give you more facts, more names, and be a little more precise with these Patreon episodes. So those, the exclusive episodes will be the exclusive episodes you can access for becoming a patron at as little as $3 a day. On this Patreon, if you guys don't know already, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it on Entitled Millennials YouTube channel, but I am a podcaster, I am an activist and stuff, but my real passion is writing. I'm a working class poet. I write all kinds of poetry that's really kind of from the perspective of working class people. It tackles subjects of like addiction and sex and human urges, and those themes also carry over into my flash fiction and my full-length short stories. So when I started this Patreon, the real purpose was trying to get my writing out into the world and hopefully make a little money doing it, right? And since then, we started up this podcast and stuff, and I figured, why wouldn't I bring these two mediums together? So on top of gaining access to the patron exclusive episodes at $3, you'll also gain access to all my poetry. There's probably 60 or 70 different poems on here. And then we have a few other tiers as well. The $6 tier, lyrical shorts for those not so pure of heart. Encompasses everything below it, and then also gets into some a little more vague stuff. Some of it's rambling, some of it's longer pieces of poetry, some of it is like a very short piece of fiction called flash fiction, something that's like a page or a few paragraphs or longer. The next tier is the $10 tier, which is short stories for socialists or sycophants, and this is the tier that I recommend joining if you are someone that's interested in reading my works, because almost everything will be posted to that tier or lower. So my big short stories, the ones I put a lot of work into and send into the editor and stuff, you'll be able to access at the $10 tier. That includes some of my more popular ones, like We Called It the Shithole, which is an interesting story about my time working in a factory here in Rust Belt, Iowa. Man's Best Friend, which follows a soldier in Iraq and kind of tackles the subject of the duality of human nature. Guilt, which follows a fanatical cult of devil-worshipping CEOs, and that one's really dark but a lot of fun. So yeah, the $10 tier is what I recommend to most people, because then you can access everything that's below that, including the exclusive episodes of poetry, the flash fiction, and you get those heavy-hitting pieces that I'm eventually going to be compiling into a book of short stories. And then the final tier is the $15 tier. Until the YouTube and the Patreon takes off more to where I'm able to write more religiously on top of all the other things of doing our social media and YouTube and stuff, posts to the $15 tier are going to be few and far between, because these are going to be novelettes. They're going to be short stories that are over 30 pages, maybe even longer. Sometimes they'll be released chapter by chapter. So I don't necessarily recommend the $15 patronage, but if you want to take that extra step and then have there is one short story and another one coming on the way that is in the $15 tier. So you guys can join that if you want to really show your commitment to the show and give that extra little bit of support. But that's about the lay of the land for the Patreon, guys. I'm glad you decided to come check it out, and thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by the Patreon, even if you decide not to become a patron, even if you're just reading some of the free stuff on here. It means a lot to me, guys. It really does, and we're glad to have you with us. Some other plans for the future of the Patreon are later on we'll have merchandise available here, and those of you who become patrons at $10 or higher will be given a free t-shirt once we get those made. So if that's a little kick in the butt to maybe think about hitting that $10 tier, then that's great. But anyways, like I said, guys, welcome to the Patreon. Thanks so much for being with us. Thanks so much for all the support, and I'll look for you in the comments on some of my writing and on some of these podcast episodes. All right, guys? Take it easy. Bye.
Stars will line up, taking the divine to spend a little time at my